Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Science. It's good to digitally see you. Today, here's what we're working on. We're talking about transport systems and nutrient systems. Sticking with this big theme of systems being, you'll see it on the word wall, but systems being a group of components working together to accomplish a certain function. Okay? And this idea that all living organisms have certain systems throughout that accomplish those specific functions. Okay? There's what you're going to need: science notebook, pencil and pen. And then our ICANs are down here. I can understand that different systems in living organisms serve specific functions, and I can explain the difference between a transport system and a nutrient system. Let's get into it here. So, I still have last week's lesson up, mostly because I really like the drawings I did of the leaves. I'm going to erase them. So bask in them now. Bask, 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 bask. Okay, they're going away. The bulk of our scientific work so far in this unit has been on these two key ideas up here. And this idea that the biosphere is a connected system of living things in an ecosystem. And then our living things need nutrients to survive. And we looked at yeast particularly liking sugar. Okay? Not just liking sugar, but also liking some water, being an aquatic creature, an aquatic organism. It is actually a fungus, believe it or not, like mushrooms. Some of you were able to correctly identify that last week, and some of you gave really good answers as to why you think it might be a consumer or a producer. Some really interesting thought processes there that I really enjoyed reading. So we've got this idea of living things need nutrients to survive. We've got this idea of things being connected. Now we're going to think about organisms themselves. We started thinking about it last week with those fancy schmancy drawings that I did of our vascular systems, or the systems of veins, systems of vessels and tubes in a plant's leaf that accomplish two things. One, it helps get water to the leaf, and it also disperses nutrients from the leaves. I have a plant right here. There it is that Miss Elizabeth gave our class. It's very pretty. It's giving me strong, like, Frankie vibes. I think this is a Frankie. Say hello to Frankie the plant. There it is. So we can see in these leaves here, if we look nice and close, we see that big vein running up from the stem, and then there's little branches coming out from there. So we can correctly identify that this is a what kind of leaf? This is a pinnate pattern, or a pinnate structure. And what happens with our leaves? As we talked about, plants are producers. They make their own food. Okay? And so down here in the roots, underneath the soil, it's taking in water, bringing it up through the stem, and then through all these vascular structures to all cells in the leaf. The other thing that it's doing is it is collecting and making its own food from light, from sunlight in particular. And a really cool thing that leaves do. So if you were to look under a microscope and go down to plant cells versus animal cells and look at them side by side, they do look very similar, and there are a lot of the same parts in plant cells and in animal cells. And one big difference is plant cells have things called chloroplasts, and they have a chemical in them called chlorophyll. And what that chlorophyll does is it takes sun's energy and it absorbs some of the light rays, some of the waves in that light. Okay? In particular, it absorbs the red and the blue ones. It doesn't absorb the green ones. It reflects them. It says, nope, go away, green. And that is why our eyes perceive leaves that photosynthesize, that have chlorophyll in them, as green. Because our eyes see the light that is reflected off of any other surfaces. Okay? This is why, yellow paper, for instance, it's reflecting the only color that's being reflected off is yellow. Everything else is being absorbed. And in this case, green light's being reflected off, red and blue light is being taken in, and then that red and blue light, the chlorophyll goes to work and it converts that light energy into, just like our yeast, into sugar. Plants like sugar too. Okay, so no, you don't have to be writing all of this down. I will tell you when you need to write stuff down. Okay, so what this plant does is it makes its own food in the leaves, nice and green, showing all that chlorophyll, and then takes in that light, converts it into sugar, and then our veins, our vascular system, then takes all of those nutrients, all those sugars, and moves them to all other parts of the plant. Takes it back down into the roots to make sure the roots are staying healthy. So it's kind of a two-way street here in a plant, where lots of things lots of different nutrients and water are moving around. Okay, and in this little talk about chlorophyll and getting water and getting sugar and getting energy from place to place throughout a plant, we have talked about actually two different kinds of systems. Okay, the first one here that we talked about with our stems leading to our veins, our vascular system, that is a type of transport system. You are going to want to write this bit down. So a transport system is a type of system where its function is to move water and nutrients to all cells in an organism, or to carry away waste products. Okay, it also does carry away waste products. It's part of that cycle of carbon dioxide and oxygen. Oxygen is actually a waste product of plants. Okay, and our vascular system, our transport system, actually helps expel that oxygen from our plants. And then the nice thing is, we like oxygen, and carbon dioxide is a waste product of us. So every time we exhale, we are expelling all of that carbon dioxide that we didn't use from the air. Our lungs filtered it out, expelling it out, and then the plants can breathe it in. And then we can take in all of that oxygen that they add to the air. Okay, so transport systems move water and nutrients to all cells in an organism or carry away waste products, right? Transport means to move. Simple as that. Transport means to move. So if we're talking about transporting something, go back to our BART train analogy, right? That's a type of a transport system, except it's not in an organism, so it's not moving water and nutrients. It's moving people to where they need to go. So it's a type of transport system, but for this lesson, we're talking about transport systems within organisms. The other type of system here is a nutrient system, okay? And it converts complex energy sources into usable energy for our organisms. So in this case, our chlorophyll, our chlorophyll and our chloroplasts in our cells that have that chlorophyll that take in that light energy and convert it into simple sugars. That is the nutrient system for this plant, or for any producer that makes its own food using sunlight. If we think about a consumer, something that eats or has to consume other organisms to survive, which yeast is one, by the way. It consumes things. In this case, it really, really likes sugar, but sugar is found in lots of things, right? If you put an apple slice in with some yeast and some warm water, that yeast would activate. If you put some raspberries or a potato in with some yeast and some warm water, that yeast would activate. Okay, there are sugars found in pretty much any food you can think of, except ones that are explicitly zero sugar. When it comes to consumers, our nutrient systems, right? If I were to, where'd those granola bars go? Well, they're all the way on the other side of the room. Otherwise, I would demonstrate a nutrient system right here in front of you by eating a granola bar. But some of you, most of you, all of you, just came from lunch. So you put your nutrient system to work, right? What happens? We take in food, we chew it, right? The scientific term for chew is to masticate. Fun little trivia. You'll be a hit at parties if you start talking about mastication. We start to chew it. We have, what else is going on in our mouths, right? We have saliva. Saliva is part, or helps in the breaking down of food, believe it or not. It's not just to keep everything lubricated. It actually has enzymes in it that help break down that food and give it a head start before it gets to the main player in your nutrient system, which is your stomach. Okay, so then your stomach's got a bunch of acids in it that breaks down all of your food, breaks down everything you consume and take in. Then it connects to your transport system, meaning your bloodstream. You can see my big giant vein in my hand there. Your bloodstream, that's our transport system that moves water and nutrients to all cells in an organism, carries away waste products, right? So all these things are connected. Our nutrient system connected to our transport system. Without our nutrient system, we wouldn't be able to break down those complex energy sources. So we wouldn't be able to break down a veggie burger or some carrot sticks or a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. And we wouldn't be able to break those things down and use the energy that's in there. Then without the transport system, without our bloodstream or without this plant's veins, without Frankie's veins, we wouldn't be able to get all that energy to all of our cells in our fingers and our toes or our stems or our leaves, right? So these two systems, transport systems and nutrient systems, work together in order to help us survive. Are they the only two systems that we've got going on in our bodies? Heck no. We'll get into more of them as we go. All right, so thinking about this main idea of transport means to move or to carry away waste products, thinking about how do consumers, how do mammals dispose of their waste? Yeah, that's right. We're here in school. We could talk about poop. That is a waste product, right? And our excretory system, our intestines, they function just as such. They are a transport system to get waste out of our bodies or to get waste out of any organism's body, right? Birds have a transport system to get rid of waste. Insects have a transport system to get rid of waste. Fish have a transport system to get rid of waste, right? Without those transport systems to get rid of waste, those waste products would stay inside those organisms and it would not be very healthy for them. So it's important to keep those transport systems healthy. Okay. On your exit ticket, it's going to ask you to briefly explain what a transport system does and what a nutrient system does. So it would behoove you to make sure these are written down in your science notebook if they're not done so already. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you my favorite joke while you're writing this down. What do you call a fish with no eye? That's absolutely right. You call it a fish. Thank you. I'll be here all week. All right, everybody. Go ahead and finish that up, finish that up, finish that up. I'm stalling because I'm assuming you're writing it down. It's not very interesting video, but it is really important to get this written down. If we were in the classroom, you'd be feverishly writing it down in your neatest possible handwriting so you can get out to recess on time or something. But in this case, you're doing it from your own home. And this is a good time to tell you that I miss you terribly and I hope that you're staying safe. Okay, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to fill out the exit ticket on Google Classroom. Glenview Tacos, I will see you writing Group A in about 15 minutes or so. And have a great rest of the day. And we will see everybody in my class at book club at 2:15. Bye.